How will you feel as a lady if you walk into a beauty salon to make your hair and the owner refuses the use of mirror or any reflective substance? Let's take a good look at a good hairstylist named Anita. In the heart of a bustling village called Obiora, there was a hair salon unlike any other. It was owned by Anita, a talented hairstylist known far and wide for her incredible speed and skill. People would travel from neighboring villages just to have their hair done by her. Some said Anita's fingers were so quick that she could braid a full head of hair in the time it took to boil a pot of water. Others claimed that her styles were so unique that no one could replicate them. But there was one strange rule in Anita's salon. There were no mirrors. No reflective surfaces of any kind were allowed. Customers who tried to bring a mirror or even a shining object were politely but firmly asked to leave them outside. It was a mystery that puzzled everyone in Obiora. One day, a curious young girl named Kemi came to Anita's salon. Kemi had heard all the stories about Anita's talent, but she couldn't understand why mirrors were forbidden. As Anita worked her magic on Kemi's hair, the girl couldn't help but ask, "Auntie Anita, why don't you have mirrors in your salon? How do your customers see their beautiful new hairstyles?" Anita paused for a moment, her fingers still moving swiftly through Kemi's hair. She smiled gently, but didn't answer right away. Instead, she finished braiding Kemi's hair with a flourish, tying the last braid with a bright red ribbon. "You see in a moment," Anita said, guiding Kemi to a small wooden stool by the door. As soon as Kemi stepped outside into the sunlight, she caught her reflection in a puddle of water. Her hair was stunning, braids so neat and intricate that they looked like a work of art. Kemi was overjoyed, but the questions still lingered in her mind. "Why, auntie? Why don't you have mirrors inside?" Anita sighed softly and looked up to the sky, as if searching for an answer in the clouds. "There is a reason, my dear," she began. "A reason that goes back many years to a time when I was still learning my craft. But it's a long story, one that I haven't told many people." Kemi's eyes widened with curiosity. "Please, Auntie Anita, tell me the story. I promise I won't tell anyone else." Anita smiled warmly as the eager girl. "All right, but it's not an easy tale to tell. You see, there was once a time when mirrors were everywhere in my salon, but something happened that changed everything." Anita glanced through and around to make sure no one else was listening, then leaned in closer to Kemi. "Many years ago," she began, "when I was still new to hairdressing, my salon was filled with mirrors. Big mirrors, small mirrors, shiny ones that sparkled in the light. I loved watching my customers' faces light up when they saw their new hairstyles. But then, something happened that I will never forget." Kemi leaned forward, hanging on Anita's every word. "One day, a woman came to my salon, a woman unlike anyone I had ever seen. She was tall, with skin that shimmered like the night sky and eyes that seemed to hold all the secrets of the world. She introduced herself as Mama Ireti, and she asked for a simple braid. But as I began to work on her hair, I noticed something strange." "What was it?" Kemi asked, her voice barely a whisper. "Every time I looked into the mirror, Mama Ireti's reflection seemed different. Sometimes her face will appear older, other times younger, and then, just as I was finishing the braid, I saw something in the mirror that made my heart stop. Anita's voice dropped to a whisper. Her reflection. It wasn't human, it was something else. Something dark and twisted, with eyes that burned like fire. I was so shocked that I dropped my comb, and when I looked up, the Mama Ireti was staring at me with a knowing smile. What did you do? Kemi asked, her eyes wide with fear. I tried to act like nothing was wrong, Anita continued, but Mama Ireti could see the fear in my eyes. She laughed, a sound that sent chills down my spine, and said, "You've seen something you shouldn't have, child." Then she touched the mirror and it shattered into 1,000 pieces, filling the room with a blinding light. Kemi gasped, "Did you run away?" "I wanted to, but I was frozen in place," Anita said. Mama Ireti looked at me with those fiery eyes and said, "From this day onward, no mirror shall ever show your true reflection. If you value your gift, you will never allow another mirror in your presence." Then, just as suddenly as she appeared, she was gone. Kemi's heart was pounding in her chest. "So that's why you don't have any mirrors?" Anita nodded. "I haven't allowed a mirror in my salon since that day. I still don't fully understand what I saw or who Mama Ireti really was. But there was one thing for certain. The moment the mirror enters the salon, everything will change." Kemi shivered at the thought. What would happen if someone brought a mirror? Anita's eyes grew distant, as if she was looking into a memory. "I don't know," she admitted, "but I am not willing to find out. All I know is that as long as there are no mirrors, I can continue to do what I love, which is creating beautiful hairstyles for people like you." Kemi looked around the salon, now understanding why it felt different from any other place she had been. It wasn't just the talent of the stylist that made it special. It was the mystery, the unspoken magic that lingered in the air. But deep down, Kemi couldn't help but wonder what would happen if someone ever broke the rule. Kemi left the salon that day with her mind buzzing, the story of Mama Ireti swelling in her thoughts. She couldn't shake the feeling of curiosity that clung to her. And as days turned into weeks, the mystery of the mirrors only grew more intriguing. She found herself imagining what might happen if someone bring a mirror to Anita's salon. One afternoon, Kemi's curiosity got the better of her. She decided to visit the old market on the edge of the village, where strange and wonderful things were sold. Among the vendors, she found a small, ornate mirror with a handle shaped like a serpent. It was beautiful, yet there was something unsettling about it. The vendor, an old woman with a toothless grin, noticed Kemi's interest. "Careful with that one, child," the woman croaked. "It's no ordinary mirror." Kemi hesitated, but then thought of Anita's story. If she could bring this mirror to the salon and nothing happened, maybe it would prove that the whole tales were just that tales. So, despite the warning, Kemi bought the mirror and hid it in her bag. The next day, Kemi returned to Anita's salon, her heart pounding with both excitement and fear. Anita welcomed her with a smile, completely unaware of the mirror Kemi had hidden in his bag. As Anita began working on her hair, Kemi discreetly reached into her bag and pulled out a mirror. The moment she did, the atmosphere in the salon changed. The hair grew heavy, and the light seemed to dim. Anita's fingers faltered for the first time ever, and she froze, her eyes widening in horror as she spotted the mirror in Kemi's hand. "Kemi, no!" Anita cried, but it was too late. The mirror seemed to come alive, its surface rippling like a water. A cold wind swept through the salon, knocking over combs and brushes. Kemi watched in terror as the reflection in the mirror twisted, revealing the same dark fairy-eyed figure that Anita had described. The figure spoke in a voice that was both a whisper and a roar. "You have broken the path, child. The mirrors will no longer be silent." Kemi dropped the mirror and it shattered on the floor, but the damage was done. The salon was filled with a blinding light, and when it faded, everything was still. The mirror's curse had been unleashed. Anita looked at Kemi with sadness in her eyes. "I told you, Kemi, some things are better left undisturbed." Kemi felt tears sting her eyes. "I'm sorry, Auntie Anita. I didn't mean to cause trouble." Anita sighed and placed a comforting hand on Kemi's shoulder. "It's not your fault, my dear. Curiosity is a powerful thing, but it must be tempered with wisdom. You've learned a hard lesson today." As they cleaned up the broken pieces of mirror, the salon slowly returned to its normal state. The hairy presence faded, but a sense of unease lingered in the air. Anita looked at Kemi and said softly, "This is why I will never allow a mirror in my salon. Some secrets are better left untouched, and some rules exist for a reason. But we can't dwell on what's done. What matters is that we learn from our mistakes and move on." Kemi nodded, understanding the weight of Anita's words. "I will never forget this lesson, Auntie." Anita smiled warmly, her usual confidence returning. "Good. Remember, Kemi, curiosity can lead to discovery, but without caution, it can also lead to danger. It's important to respect the boundaries set by others, even when we don't fully understand them." As Kemi and Anita finished cleaning up the shattered pieces of the mirror, a strange calm settled over the salon. Anita looked around, sensing that something was different. Something had changed. The eerie presence that had filled the room moments before was gone, leaving behind a silence that felt almost peaceful. Anita turned to Kemi, who was still trembling in guilt. "It's over," Anita said softly. "The curse, it's been broken." Kemi looked up, confused. "But how?" "The mirror brought back the dark figure, just like you said it would." Anita nodded thoughtfully. "Yes, it did. But when you dropped the mirror and it shattered, something else happened. The curse wasn't just about keeping mirrors away. It was about the fear that I had carried with me all these years. Mama Ireti's warning was as much about my own heart as it was about the mirrors." Kemi furrowed her brow. "I don't understand." Anita smiled gently. "When you brought the mirror into the salon, it forced me to confront my greatest fear. The fear that the dark figure will return and that my gift will be taken away. But instead, running away or letting the fear control me, I faced it. And you, Kemi, even though you were scared, you didn't let the darkness consume you. You dropped the mirror, and in doing so, shatter the hold that fear had over me. Kemi's eyes widened and she began to understand. So the course was never really about the mirrors themselves? Anita shook her head. No, it was about the power I gave to that fear. Mama Eriti's reflection was terrifying, yes, but the real cause was the way I let that fear rule my life. By confronting it, we've broken the spell. Kemi looked around the salon, noticing how the lights seemed brighter now, and how the hair felt lighter too. Does that mean you can have mirrors in the salon now? Anita smiled, a sense of relief washing over her. Yes, I believe so. The mirrors were never the problem. It was my fear of what they might reveal. Now that the fear is gone, I think it's time to let the mirrors back in. Kemi grinned, feeling a sense of pride and accomplishment. Can we try it, just to be sure? Anita nodded. Let's do it together. They left the salon and walked to Kemi's house, where Kemi found another small mirror. Together they returned to the salon, hearts pounding with anticipation. Kemi held her breath as she handed the mirror to Anita. With a deep breath, Anita placed the mirror on the wall. For a moment, nothing happened. The room was still and silent. Then, slowly, the mirror began to reflect the room around it, bright, warm, and filled with light. There was no darkness, no twisted figure, only the clear, true reflection of the salon and the people in it. Anita's eyes filled with tears, but this time they were tears of joy. It's over, she whispered. The curse is truly broken. Kemi beamed. So the salon can have mirrors again? Anita nodded. Yes, it can. And more importantly, I've learned that facing our fears is the only way we can truly overcome them. From that day on, Anita's salon was filled with mirrors, large and small, ornate and simple. Customers marveled at how beautiful their hairstyles looked in the reflections, but only a few knew the story behind the return of the mirrors. Anita continued to be the fastest, most talented hairstylist in all of Obiora, but now her salon was even more special. It was a place where people not only come to look beautiful, but also to be reminded of the power of courage and the importance of facing their fears. A moral story. True strength comes from not avoiding our fears, but from facing them head on. When we confront what scares us, we break the chains that hold us back and open ourselves to new possibilities. Thank you for always watching our videos. And if you are new on this channel, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that you'll be the first to be notified when we drop other interesting stories like this. Thank you for always listening to us.